Hello and welcome back to Asian Cinema Season 2 and Project Jackie. In this video we're going to be talking about the 1984 film
Wheels on Meals.
Wheels on Meals. So this stars obviously Jackie Chan, also Sammo Hung and Yuen Biao. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name. And I think those three they call them the Three Dragons, I think. Again, I'm quite a novice with all this stuff, but I definitely knew of Sammo Hung from other Jackie Chan films, even like Hand of Death. I think he's got like the kind of Ken Dodd teeth in that movie, but also Project A. And now in reading Jackie Chan's book, he actually grew up with Sammo Hung in the school that he was put into when he was very young. This kind of very brutal. I think that I can't remember the exact term for it, but they train martial arts and kind of theatre and things like that, and so they kind of grew up together. But these three kind of, and this wasn't directed. Was this the one that was directed by Sammo Hung? Yes, it is. So this isn't a Jackie Chan directed film. I think it does have a slightly different flavour to Jackie Chan's films in some regards, but for the most part, you have the same signature style of ridiculous martial arts action, slapstick comedy, and a kind of a quasi convoluted plot. But we watched this one and Armor of God like one after the other in terms of the consecutive days, and this one comes before Armor of God, and also features chronologically when they were released, and also features a Spanish actress who was in Armor of God. So it kind of, in thinking about the two of them, I almost kind of blend them over in my head, but they're very different films, and I enjoyed this one quite a bit more than Armor of God. So this one is about a duo of men, played by Jackie Chan and Yuen Biao, who they run this Meals on Wheels service. Basically, they drive around in a van, they kind of park up in a Spanish town, and they sell fast food, basically. That's their thing. I love how the film opens with them training. Like they get up and they're just like they're ripped. They're training. They're doing crunches. They're really like going for it, and like they're kind of like sparring with each other. Then they get up and they go off and start to sell fast food. Like you think, oh, they're like some like fighters or something. They clean their car, but like it almost builds up like they're these serious kind of martial arts dudes, and they're very much just fast food workers. But it sets up how they're able to fight so well later on. They're obviously kind of. And I like how Yuen Biao, again, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, I think he's great, and apparently he's another one of these kind of martial arts legends, and has been in many of these movies, but...
His martial art is good.
Yeah, but I love how he comes off as such a geek. Like, he like one of his teeth is a little crooked, he wears glasses, he looks a little nerdy, and he even acts very kind of, awkward, yeah. But then when it comes to the fighting, he's just like a machine. I just thought it was a really fun kind of... Contrast, yeah. And then Sammo Hung is great. I love him, and he plays a private, or he's a newly minted private detective. His boss goes away for a while and gives him, he gets given a job to find this girl who's been missing for a long time. So he's on the tail of this girl who crosses paths with Jackie Chan and Yuen Biao, and so all of these four characters converge to this plot of the girl who's trying to inherit. Oh no, she's part of the. I'm not going to go into the whole plot. It's really not convoluted, but there's a lot of.
We shouldn't say why they're looking for her.
I suppose
spoil something.
Spoilers for a film like this. I don't know, but there's a lot of beats.
I was surprised.
There's a lot of beats to the story, and really it services the action. The only thing I didn't really like about this film was the psychiatric hospital that they visit twice in the film, because it's just completely played for slapstick comedy, which is fine, and I'm not saying it's offensive to me. It might be offensive to some people, but I just didn't find it that funny. It just... And
it wasn't necessary.
And it was played for real laughs, and I didn't find it that funny, whereas just the interplay between the characters I found funny. Like when the woman who we at first think is a prostitute comes back to their house, and kind of again, it's similar to Armor of God, where they're kind of like each of them are kind of working up their way to kind of getting in with her. And there's a great scene where Jackie kind of, what does he say to her? Something about like, do you want to do it like a hooker or something like that?
No, that was in the first one.
No, I'm sure it was in this one, because they first meet her in this, and she is, for all intents and purposes, a prostitute. And so later on, he says, "Do you want to do?"
No, it wasn't the first.
No,
one.
It isn't.
Yeah, because he kisses her in the car, and then they've saved that girl, and then he's in her hotel room, and then he's like holding her shoulders, and he says that. She slaps him. He leaves the room, and that's when the Chinese girl is there. Yep.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to prove it to you. It's 100% wrong.
Okay.
Okay, I've got no idea if I'm going to keep any of the previous disagreement we just had in the video. But we were talking about the scene where, again, Jackie and his friend in this film are kind of both vying for the attention and wooing of this woman, who's the same actress who appears in Armor of God. And at one point, Jackie says something to the effect of, what was the line? It was like...
I can't remember.
Can't remember,
you
but...
wanna, like, try being a hooker.
Do you want to, like, try being a hooker? Right, because... I was so adamant that it was in Wheels on Meals. But it is, in fact, Connie was right, it is in Armor of God that he makes the kind of inappropriate hooker comment towards this woman. Because in both movies, she is appearing to be a prostitute. Which I didn't even think about. So in Armor of God...
Which is why I was confused when we watched it again.
So in Armor of God, she is undercover as a prostitute. In Wheels on Meals, I have to keep getting that title right.
Wheels.
Huh? What?
I thought you said it wrong, but then I heard,
No.
you did say it right.
Wheels on Meals,
Wheels on Meals. It's so weird.
It is weird. In fact, I was saying on the Blu-ray Condition podcast with Graham, he was saying, oh yeah, Wheels on Meals is coming out. And I'm like, I think you mean Wheels on... He's like, no. And I'm like, well, no, I think it's like, yeah. I'm always getting myself wrong about this. I'm always getting myself wrong. That's just brilliant English. Good job.
Just like Wheels on Meals.
Yeah, just like Wheels on Meals. So yeah, and in Wheels on Meals, she is pretending to be a prostitute to steal money from men. And there's a whole storyline behind that. Anyway, so there's fun interplay between her and the two lead characters. And even with Sammo Hung's detective, there's a scene where he kind of corners her, and he's got his hand over his mouth, and she's like, and he's saying like, you don't need to be afraid. I'm trying to help you. And then the camera cuts wide, and he's got his leg kind of arched up over in a very suggestive way. So that's
because he's holding her.
I know he's holding her there, but it's just it's a funny reveal. So like there's even comedy in the cutting, which is cool.
Yeah.
There's a really cool fight scene at the beginning with a motorbike gang, so you get to see that Jackie and Ewan can. They can defend themselves, which plays into the finale of the film.
Wasn't it in this one? Sorry. Wasn't it in this one where you see that wall in between their bedrooms?
Yes, that's a really cool.
And I was like, I wonder if there's actually a wall in between those two bedrooms, and then Jackie just walks straight through.
Yeah.
And I was just so like, I can't believe he answered my question.
You predicted the visual gag before it happened.
Yeah. It was just so funny. Sorry.
It reminded me very much of like silent comedy, like kind of the Buster Keaton kind of thing, where it's
and I'm sure he loves that.
Very simple gag, that's all in the visual, and it's not even like meant to be a big joke. It's just a funny little side thing in the scene. Really well done. At the beginning, actually, we're just jumping all over the place, but when Jackie and Ewan leave their house, whenever I feel like I'm saying the name Ewan, but I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that name. You and me. You and Jackie, they jump out of the balcony of their apartment to get down to the food van, and there's an awning, and so Jackie jumps and bounces off his bum, puts his hand down, does like a really cool flip onto the ground. So he's kind of motioning for his pal to jump down, and he jumps down to land on his bum again, and the shop owner pulls the awning up, and he just goes right on his arse.
He must have cracked his tailbone.
It's one shot. There's no stuntman, at least from what I can tell. And it's a jumping sit-out bump from must be 10, 11 feet to concrete.
Looks like concrete.
These I didn't see any kind of... It was ridiculous.
You didn't see a bounce that indicated
no bounce. It's just body hitting fucking cement.
Stunt.
It is ridiculous. I don't know how he managed to commit to that. That was just one of the most insane stunts, honestly, I've ever seen. Ridiculous. Underrated bump for sure. I like the scene when they start fighting guys in the street and then they're like, oh no, too tough, let's go. They just kind of bail out. And apparently the main guy that Jackie Chan fights at the end of this film is some kind of noted martial artist.
You can tell that he can fight.
Yeah,
properly.
He's
got such a strange looking face.
Yeah.
It kind of like I can see what it looked like as a kid, and then just like
I think Benny the Jet Kides, apparently.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he's brilliant, and that is one of my favorite fight scenes that I've seen in a long time, I think, because they're so good, and how Jackie is just starting to feel defeated, and then he tells himself, just pretend that it's a training session.
Yes, so good.
And the way he's acting
changes
out
his style,
yes, completely. And I'm just like, oh,
and
I
you
wish
can
he
tell
was a drunken master in this one.
Yeah,
I keep thinking like how he's been fighting in the past.
It almost played like a realistic version of Drunken Master in that sense. Almost, you can almost believe how it works.
Yeah, like shaking it out and confusing the opponent.
And confusing him, yeah.
I feel like I got to see more of Jackie's fighting style.
Yes.
Instead of just using props.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It was a lot more genuine. His kicks and everything like that, and the way they actually hit each other.
Yes.
It's not like the movies now where you see all the hits and everything, so they must be taking some of the punches, and their timing obviously must be like perfect and everything, because they can't hit each other that hard, because you see in the outtakes when they actually do.
Yeah.
But it's just the control they must have to be able to stop just when you still have contact with skin, but not so hard that you will hurt the opponent. And it's just, the choreography is just great.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, so great, that fighting scene. I was so excited when I saw that he was teamed up with him, because I could tell that he was going to be good. And I even liked the fencing scene.
With Sammo Hung. Yeah. He's really funny, and he's someone you wouldn't expect to be really good at martial arts just because he's fat, you know.
He can move.
And again, he grew up with Jackie, and I think there's a story in his book about how Sammo was the big tough one in the school, and then I think he got hurt or something, so he was laid up for a while, and then that's when he put the weight on. And Jackie's he never lost the weight after that, so he was always that heavy, but he never lost his his physical ability to do martial arts and to take falls and all that kind of stuff. And obviously he moved into the movie industry before Jackie Chan and was like, you need to come and make these movies as well because of what we can do. So seeing them together, teamed up properly, was really cool in this. And like you said, the fencing scene was really cool, but also funny. You know, there's humor in it. Whereas the Jackie fight is proper serious, ridiculous, hard hitting stuff.
Yeah, but the fencing scene, it just made me want to learn fencing as well.
It's really cool,
Obviously,
isn't it?
watching Jackie Chan doing martial arts makes me want to learn martial arts again and do that kind of, because it's not just cool to look at, it's kind of beautiful to look at, because it's kind of like this dance, you know?
Yeah, it is very dance-like.
And it's so athletic.
Yeah.
The stamina and the strength you have to do the things that they do, and the coordination and everything is just amazing. But the fencing, it was shot well as well, but it's just the movements they have and the stance they have when they do that kind of fencing. To me, it's just so beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
It's like another dance again. It's just... This movie was really great, I think.
Yeah.
If I can give my opinion now.
Yeah.
Even though I confused it with the other one and we had to cut it up, that didn't mean that it was boring in any way.
Yeah.
I liked the whole story. It was more solid.
Yep.
I liked how they had this, fast food truck thingy, and how that truck became a weapon as well at some point.
Yeah.
The chemistry between the four was good.
Yeah.
I liked Sammo. He was funny. I actually liked the girl in this one. She had some funny bits as well. She wasn't just this snarky girl and everything.
Yeah.
The whole movie to me was entertaining. It was good. It's definitely one of those that I would want to see again, and maybe one of the better ones of Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
because the fighting scenes mixed with the action, mixed with the dialogue and everything, I think it was very well balanced. Because when you got the fighting, you were like, oh, this is so awesome, you know? Yeah, it was really good.
And there's little micro scenes are funny. There's a bit where Sammo goes to this bar and he's chasing down the lead, and he's wearing this ridiculous black suit with white gloves, and I think they're taking the piss out of him. And then they're just he's like, I can't get drunk tonight, boys. I really need to. And they're just have another drink, have another drink. And he's just he keeps getting roped into taking all these drinks, and it's just really funny. Just really simple humor, and again the action is it really is top notch stuff.
It is.
And again, like you were, I was going to point that out if you didn't. The Jackie Chan jet, if you want to call him that, fight at the end, it doesn't really rely too much on props at all. It's just really hard hitting action. And again, you were saying, you don't know if they're kind of perfectly timing everything. Obviously they are, and they can't be hitting each other that hard all the time. But there is a slow motion shot where he's punching against it. Jackie is punching this guy.
You can tell it moves the skin.
And he's blocking it, but there's one punch where he actually clocks him, and it's slow motion. You see him punch him in the face.
You see the skin going
it's like
in like that.
You know,
I
it's
think
so,
you see some spit coming out too.
I would imagine that in that case it was like, right, we're going to do a slow motion shot. Just take one punch to the face. That must have been it. I don't know whether the guy suggested it, whether Jackie suggested it, whether Samo, who's directing the film, suggested it, but it just, that one shot made it so much more like drawn in. It's like, holy shit, he actually punched him. And then they continue with all this. It's just brilliant.
It is. I mean, I wish that... I mean, I'm not saying that the Drunken Master movies don't have solid fighting, but it feels more messy to me. This was more like, kind of like the bathroom scene in
Mission Impossible. Fallout. Yeah.
It's so hard and heavy in a way. It's heavier. They're stood on the ground. They're not just jumping around and doing tricks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Close quarters combat.
Yes, and it's just the way they're stood and everything, and it pulls me in a different way. And you know what? I bet there wasn't any music.
No, I don't think so.
That's probably why I felt that scene was so great.
I want to just watch that fight scene again now that we're talking about it.
It was really good. It can't have been music in it.
I don't think so, no.
Maybe when he's talking to himself like, come on, this is just a training thing. This guy's really good.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe the music starts then or something. But yeah, it's... I just want to start martial arts again. I wish I could go 10, 20... 15 years back in time.
Right.
And just stick to my karate and stuff like that and just get good at it and do kung fu and stuff because it looks so awesome.
And there's a lot of... There's a skateboarding sequence montage which is just like... It felt like it was from a 90s movie. Really. It felt like even the fashion seemed very 90s in that skateboard montage. But it's a lot of fun, the film. It's a very entertaining movie with some incredible action scenes, a story that moves along. Again, the mental institution stuff I wasn't too keen on, but that's kind of a minor point. But as you say, probably one of the better ones actually, and it was really an interesting surprise because I had these two Blu-rays, Armor of God, Wheels on Meals, and I'm like, right, Armor of God is the one people talk about. That's going to be the classic. Wheels on Meals, I thought this would be like a fun, maybe some cool fight scenes, but turns out I think this one is actually a much better film than Armor of God. But I mean, they both have great action scenes, but just an overall package, I really enjoyed this one. And I laughed out loud big at one moment where they're driving away in the van, and Sammo Hung is like, his body's half stuck out of the side of the door, and he's like, "Yeah, we got him!" And they turn around like a bend in the road, and he just flies out of the thing and rolls down the hill. Again, it's just simple stuff makes me laugh sometimes. It's just like, again, slapstick, almost harkening back to the silent era.
They didn't even go back to get him.
They didn't even go back to get him, yeah. They just turns up like...
Yeah. They weren't even happy to see him when he showed up.
No, yes, I like that they... it wasn't like, we're all buddies, and they partner up. Like, they're kind of like poking fun at each other, and they don't really fully get on board as a team until like near the end.
Even then,
I suppose.
He gets a little kick.
He gets a little kick, at the end, yeah. So good stuff. Wheels on Meals. I can't fully just connect it in my head. I always keep double checking. But yeah, great film. And really glad that I decided to pick it up and check it out. And I think that's all we've got to say about it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
He's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans and calling into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you.